So we're going to look at adding lights and textures to your objects. So as you can see in this scene, we've got the camera. This is the default setup plus a couple of bits I've added here. Camera, this is a lamp. It's actually a point lamp. There's different varieties of lamp that you can add here. So you go to add, and you've got lamp, and we've got point, sun, spot, hemi and area. When a lamp's in the scene, if we look at it in rendered view, there we are, that shows us the shadows. It can lag a little bit because it is processing the light, as we move it around, so it's not ideal for working in normally, but it gives us an idea of how it will look in the end. So one thing you can do is either you can go back to solid mode or texture mode, or whichever mode you want to work in that isn't rendered, and you can move that light around. So we can move that like so, and perhaps like that. So now we would expect to see a different result in the rendered view. There we go. So it's updated because it's very shiny on top, but everything else is very dark. So let's go back to solid because it can take its toll on the computer. So something like that. When you've added a light, you can have a look at its settings over here. On the right hand side, you've got this little icon. It only shows up, this icon, when you've got a light selected, so you must have right clicked the light before you can see this little tab. There we are, and you can see it's got a few settings like lots of other things in Blender. This one's got firstly the colour, so at the moment it's white, and you can change it to red and you would see the result of that. Now it's getting a bit tedious, to be honest, to go from rendered view to solid view while I'm sort of checking these things out. So what we can do is, if you have a little look in the top right hand corner of the screen, or of this sort of window, you'll see these little sort of grab lines, and you can grab them and you can go like this. Ooh, like that. And you can change this mode, rather than being in solid mode, you can change it to rendered. So we can change it to this rendered view to get an idea of how it looks, whilst also being able to just sort of move things around more freely in this view, and seeing it updating there without having to switch all the time. There we go, eventually. Now this is sort of in the way a little bit, I think, so I'm just going to press N. Oh no, I'm not going to press N, I'm going to press T. There we are. So that's made that little bit go away, and I can get an idea of what's going on here. I can of course add more lights, so here I can choose add, lamp, point, and put that into a position. I'm just going to sort of bring it around here, I think, just to backlight it a little bit so the shadows aren't totally black. Okay, so we've got this oddly lit setup now. So we could change this light. This light might be our sort of key light, the main light that's giving everything a certain tone or whatever. This one, however, we could use at a lower intensity just to give some detail in the shadows, really. So instead of being at 1, I've now put it at 0.1, and we can sort of see the effect. It's not totally dark behind here. It's given us a sense of depth, and we can see a bit of detail. It's a bit more intriguing. It feels like it's going off into the darkness there, so as game players we might want to go and explore that. So lights can be used to great effect, and mainly you want to choose the colour and the energy. There are a few other things you can do with different lights, so they've got different settings. I would encourage you just to explore them, really. So here we are, we're changing that one to these different lights. So if you select a light, it will, and then change its type. So a spotlight is like you might expect, like on a stage. You can see that there. And you've got things where you can change how its cone looks and things like that, and whether it's got this halo thing, so it's, you can sort of see all of the light. There we are, so you can see the light beams, as it were. So that might be a feature you want to include to kind of create a certain atmosphere in your game. But again, definitely have a little explore of the lights and see which ones best suit what you want to achieve, really. This value, fall off, is actually quite useful. It's the idea that light doesn't exist, forever. We have a centre of light, and it only goes so far, and then it starts to get dark again. The light doesn't reach everywhere. So we can create areas of light using fall off. And here you've got a distance, so that will, I'm just going to change this back to a point light. And I'm going to select this light, and I'm going to change the fall off. So at the moment it's set at 30, I'm going to change it to 10, and we'll have a look at the results in this window here. So we can see it gets a little bit dimmer, but only sort of further away. So let's just do it more to more of an extreme. There you go. So a light can be intense, but not go very far. So you have quite a lot of control over the lighting, and you can use that to your advantage in your game. So have a go with it yourself, add some lights, move them around, and experiment to see what works for you.